So in task 8A, we had to describe all 10 areas and show where they were seen in our videos. A lot, I feel like some of these 10 major areas, I was able to see myself doing these things in multiple videos. So picking one was a little bit difficult. Some of them I did wind up adding two just because I feel like I showed it a lot in those two videos. But for providing and communicating clear learning goals for that first or the second video in 5B, where I am high-fiving the student and praising him, and you can see that he clearly understands what he's supposed to be doing with the money, the rules with the money, what we're aiming to be doing here. We were dividing decimals, and the play money really helped them a lot with that. They love that, and the Boston Banker game, they love to play it. So I was helping him explain the process and get to an answer. Sometimes the students were really good at just kind of separating the money, but were a little bit unsure of what they're supposed to be asking for. So if they needed 10 ones and they had a $10 bill, sometimes they wouldn't say, hey banker, can I please get 10 ones for this 10? Or can I exchange my 10 for 10 ones? Sometimes they would just kind of hand it to them, and the banker would hand them the 10 ones, which is great that they understand what they want, but actually asking for it and using the words, it was really important as well. And that student in that video is someone who has struggled a little bit, so watching him go through it and explain it and me helping him through it and asking him questions was really cool to see him accomplish it. And then I did praise him. I said good job and excellent and beautiful work and all that. So you could tell he was very excited and proud of himself after the fact. For the second area of assessments, I used my two videos in 6B. In my first video, the students were doing a warm-up question, and this warm-up question comes from a real EOG, which is our end of grade test, and they know that they're expected to do one question quietly in the 4 or 5 minutes, depending on the length of the question and difficulty level. They know that they're supposed to complete it in that amount of time and not discuss their answers with other students until after I go over the problem. This was assessing what they remember from the beginning of the year, from a few months back. The question every day changes, and they have to recall information that has been taught throughout the whole year. So having them do this on their own, like a real test, is awesome to see where they're actually at individually. And the fact that I do reward them with the stickers if they get it correct, and breakfast at the end of the year. If they get a 5 on this practice EOG, they really, really want to do well. And another thing is just like when I tell them this is like the real thing, they could repeat these questions, they could be very similar, but no one's going to see these grades except for you and me. So try your best. Be honest about whether you got it correct or not. Write down the correct work if it's not correct, because this is the real thing. And it's going to be very similar to what they will have in a month now. So for the most part, they really, really do want to do well on these questions. And then in the second video, by tossing the ball, they are getting students to answer the questions by tossing the ball has really gotten them engaged more and participating more. And it also allows me to assess them individually. So if they know the answer, great. And that will tell me, okay, you know what you're supposed to be doing. And then same thing when I go to a new student. A lot of the times, which isn't pictured in this video, but if it's something where it's simple, quick answers, a lot of the times I'll go around the room and they won't raise their hands. They know whoever I toss it to, whoever's next, they're getting the next question. And a lot of those, when I do it with that way, a lot of those students they know the majority of the content. Like I'll either do it at the end of a unit, or when it's easy questions that I can kind of give a yes or no, or true or false to help them correctly get it if they are truly struggling. For the direct instruction portion of this, I used video 7B to demonstrate this, and they showed, or the video shows students working on the dinner party project together. I grouped them specifically, and the content was chunked, so we didn't do the entire project in one day. We did piece at a time, and in their workbook, I kind of chunked it the same way. So they were not looking at everything at once. It was focusing on one part and then the next part and having me check it as they were going through the project. And for the most part, the students were working collaboratively together and actively participating in their group discussions. For practicing and deepening, I used the video where they are answering a question with their groups before they started the dinner party project. You can see that they're discussing what they think with their group. They're working on the question together, and they're asking me questions. I think that I gave enough time for the students to read the question, think about it on their own, discuss with their group what they have to do to solve it, and then actually solve the problem. This gave them time to discuss some similarities and differences and compare their answers with their group. And then I also talked about the similarities and differences between 99 cents and $1. So a lot of them kind of just see one number as one number, and it's different from another number, so they can't be the same thing. And then just kind of going into the real world again, how when you're going to buy something at a store, if it actually costs 99 cents, you're going to round up to $1. Not really going to focus on that penny too much. So it's a lot of kind of just picturing what they would do for themselves in the real world. For knowledge application, I used the video where my students were playing the Four Corners game, and this allowed them to collaborate with each other and think on their own. Once the question was read to them, they could read it on the board again, and they had time to think about what operation they would have to use. So if they thought it was multiplication to solve the problem, then they would go to that corner. This allowed for physical movement, and I really liked how they were discussing with each other what they thought and why. Some students wanted to go to one corner just because their friend was there. Maybe they didn't know the answer, and giving them time to discuss it and teach each other really worked out nicely. And then having them defend what they thought to me and to the class. So if they picked addition, tell me why you picked addition. Tell me what told you in the problem to pick addition. This also really helps them picture the problem in their head. I harp on that so much in class. Word problems are difficult. They really are, and you're not going to know what to do if you just read it once and look at the numbers. I tell them to break it down, every single sentence, break it down, put yourself in the position and picture what's going on. So throughout this video, that's what they did, and they got to also discuss it with their peers, which is always great to hear from another person, their thoughts and their perspective. For strategies that appear in all types of lessons, I used video 6B, which was our whole class instruction, and you can see that I'm tossing the ball to get students to participate. We're kind of going over the rules and the structure of what we're doing with adding and subtracting integers. And then you can also see that I am really honing in on the important critical information that they need to know. So right before I sent them to do their individual work, I kind of reviewed the important vocab words and important rules and things that they would need to know in order to make sure that they're completing their individual work correctly on their own. Obviously, they can ask me questions, and I walked around and helped them after. But every day, especially when I teach a vocabulary word, so whether it's a vocab word or something of importance that I really want them to know or remember, every single day at the beginning and the end of class, I'll say, okay, class, what does this mean? So in the video, I was asking about the integers and then opposites and additive inverse. So they need to be able to give me the definition of that in their own words. They need to tell me what the additive inverse is with an example, or what is an integer, and be able to explain what they are, but also show me and give me examples. Students were able to summarize the definitions, summarize the meaning behind the words, and what they are and examples of them. And they're able to explain what we're doing in class and why it's important to know. For engagement, I talked about the ball tossing and the four corners game. I think that my relationships with my students allow me to create so much more engagement rather than if my relationships weren't as strong as they are. But relating to them and trying to do fun things to get them interested in the math helps so much. So getting them up and moving around for the four corners game, they request that game all the time now. Something as simple as solving a word problem or even just picking the operation that they have to do and creating it into a game makes them want to learn more. And then tossing the ball, again, they're physically moving when they're doing it, but it's also something fun to do. So I feel like I try every day or every week to think of something new and fun to get these kids engaged, because sometimes it's hard for adults to stay engaged and on topic and focused. So for kids, it's going to be 10 times worse. And then just relating to them. I'm lucky that I'm young enough and kind of know a lot of the things that they talk about, but being able to apply that to math makes them want to know math more. And just being silly and goofy with them, they're going to want to learn more because of the relationship that I have with them. So that's something that I so love that I do and love that I'm able to do, is relating to them and trying to just make math fun. I have a dartboard in my magnetic dartboard in my classroom, and sometimes when they're answering questions, if they get it right, I'll let them do that. So just something that's like physically moving and getting them to have fun. That's the whole point, basically. With rules and procedures, I talked about the ball tossing again and the money with the game or the Boston Banker game that we played. I have so many rules and procedures for my classroom specifically that the kids know and follow, and honestly, they're really, really good at it. I think that creating these fun things for them to do, it makes the rules and procedures easy. So they know where to put the money. They know how to treat the money. It shouldn't be ripped up. It shouldn't be all over my floor. And they know to clean it up if it is. With the ball tossing, they know you cannot toss that ball to anybody else. They know if I'm writing something on the board, don't throw it back to me until I'm turned around looking at you ready to catch it. And all these things they kind of just caught on to after I explained the rules and procedures. As with every little thing that we do, they have fun with it. So they catch on quickly to the rules and they want to follow them so that we can do them again. And they know if they do not follow the rules and procedures, the fun things that have these rules and procedures get taken away. Even if they're not fun things, they are pretty good at following the rules and what I expect of them. And even just for our EOG warm-up, they know where the stickers are. They know one person's going to hand them out in the beginning of class. They know to put it away when they're done. They know where to keep their EOG packet. I have not had a single student this year lose that EOG packet so far, knock on wood. But they all have a folder in the back of the room. It's a colorful packet. They know where to put it. They know what to do with it when they're done. They know to be honest about if they got the question correct and putting the sticker on it.